Hello, everyone, and welcome along to this live webinar. And today I'm pleased to be joined by Leah from the Property Couple. Hi, Leah. How are you?
Really good. Thanks, everyone. And looking forward to.
One second. Yeah, you can start again. Just introduce yourself quickly, Leah, for people that not familiar with your activity in the property industry. So feel free.
Yeah, sure. Hello, everybody. My name is Leah. I am one half of the YouTube channel Property Couple, where myself and my husband share all things property investing, business, and working together as a couple. So we started property investing just before COVID. We started learning about property in sort of 2018, 19. We actually made our first investments during lockdown, which have actually served us very, very well when everyone was saying like not to do anything. So yeah, looking forward to chatting about property tonight and just some of the deals that we've done, and yeah, excited about that.
Yeah, sounds great, and we're looking forward to it as well. I will share now the agenda. In the meantime, if you watch it on our YouTube channel, feel free to subscribe to our channel to get more relevant content, and we'll share the links of Lendlord YouTube channel, but also the Property Couple. It's a great channel, great authentic content that is being released constantly. Highly recommended to follow the Property Couple. And let me share the screen so we can go over the agenda quickly. All right, so we started with this brief introduction. Then Leah will speak about, your tips about sourcing properties. Perhaps you can, share some examples of how you got some of your projects. And then we'll go to analyze some deals together. We can use examples from your experience, or we can just use like some kind of a use case to demonstrate the metrics and the things that you think property investors should look at. And we will use the Lendlord platform for that. And then we will end with questions and answers. As usual, we are running a promotion during this webinar time only. So if you want to get our premium plan with 50% off, this is the benefit, then just go to the settings page, click upgrade, or use the link /premium that Sarel will share on the chat. Click add coupon. Then the coupon of this webinar is Leah webinar, and click apply, and you will get the premium plan with 50% off, only 49.5 pounds for the entire year, for the entire first year. And then the second year, it will go to 99 pounds. In the premium plan, there are many valuable features. On the sourcing tabs, you will be able to get more information about the addresses of the properties. You can get the Google map, some information about the property. You can contact the agent. You can run the value estimations of the property unlimited. You can apply sourcing alerts and many more. Perhaps during the webinar, when we analyze deals, I will mention some of the features, but we have also some premium features on the managed side and some benefits on the finance side. So it's very valuable, 50% off. You should have the details on how to upgrade on the chat, so feel free to do it. And Yes, so let's start, Leah, perhaps first, let's start about property sourcing. And I'd love to hear your thoughts on how you did it, perhaps in the past, like how you got your first property and how you do it today, and what are your best tips for property investors. And Leah, for 1 second before, perhaps you can run a quick poll. If you are new to property, put 1 on the chat. If you're an existing landlord, if you can put 2, so we understand the audience that we have. Okay, I see it's a combination. I see many landlords, but many also newbies that want to get started. Perfect. All right. Yeah.
So it kind of looked like sort of half, like half new
Yeah,
people and then half people that have been doing it a while.
yeah,
Oh,
50-50.
shall I? I'll include myself as well. Okay.
Oh yeah, I see, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, sure. I'm happy to talk about how we found our first deal. And actually, it's good that you mentioned sourcing because I think at the start of everyone's property journey, people are really precious. I know I was. I just wanted to find my own deal. I was like scrolling all day, 10 to 15 hours at least per week, scrolling and looking. And I really didn't want to pay a sourcing fee or anything to like fast track my way into a deal because I didn't feel like I'd earned it or I didn't feel like it was real if I bought a deal like sourced to me. And it was actually my mentor at the time that just helped me get over that because it was one of those points where it was like it's now or never. You're either going to throw yourself in and the deal stacked up. I was presented with a deal from a sourcing agent. And I remember the sourcing fee, I think was 3 grand plus VAT. And I was almost asking everyone I know, like, is this a deal? Like, is this definitely a deal? Like, and they were like, let's look at your spreadsheet. Like, show me, does it stack up? What's the ROI? And it did, it absolutely stacked up. Um, I just needed that kind of like push and that confidence to go and jump in. So I did actually buy our first deal through a sourcing agent who's someone I knew from a property investors network that I'm part of. Um, but that's not to say that everybody needs to buy their first deal from like a sourcing agent. Um, yeah, so
Yeah, was it a buy to let, like vanilla buy to let, or it was in like
um,
what you call like a refurbishment project in the beginning?
yeah, so it was going to be a mini HMO. Like I know that's quite a sort of advanced jump into the property world. Had some experience with buy to let before, but it was not my own portfolio. I had like experience with like family vanilla buy to lets that I had like done the ASTs for, was sort of like doing estate agent job for, but they were not my properties. Um, and obviously did like a year and a half of just training in property to learn all about HMO regulations, everything to do with an HMO refurb, legislation, all of that. So we bought this sort of very vanilla 3 bed, 1 bathroom terrace house in the West Midlands, and we converted it into a 4 bed, 4 bath HMO. So that was actually quite a big first project, but I felt like we had the sort of like help and support around us at the time and the network, the property investors network that we're part of, to sort of enter into a deal like that. Also, there was a project manager on our side, so we paid a little bit extra to have some project management because it was going to be our first time doing a refurb and it was an HMO refurb, so
Yeah.
there was that as well. Um,
So important. I think this is like a really important point. Like if you have some kind of conversion or publishment project, management is a key. Like you need to be with a very clear plan and also to follow the plan, like basically to track the progress as you go. And if you have a project manager that can do it for you with his experience, I think it's a great benefit.
Yeah, and I think it's really beneficial for you to sit in on all of the calls that the project manager has with the build team or like the head builder, because when they're holding other people accountable, you can be listening on our call of how they have these conversations where they bring up like the Gantt chart and they're like, oh, well, we should be at this stage by now, but we're not. Why are we not at this stage? And then you can sort of like learn the lingo and learn how to speak to um, like builders about time management because it's a real problem. It will happen on every project. So I think that's a really valuable beginning. And then just going back to the sourcing side of things. Um, One of the biggest ways that I found deals started to come to us was by telling everyone what we were doing. So at the beginning, we were going on loads and loads of viewings. I was even booking in viewings for properties that we weren't really sure about, but maybe they had some potential and they were almost a little bit outside of the price bracket as well. And I remember we were on a viewing for a project that was at auction. It was a bungalow and I was like, I really want to do a bungalow flip. Bungalow flips are amazing. You know, they're sort of aiming at like last time buyers, like pensioners who were just going to purchase their final home. They're often cash buyers. They you know, they're ready to move quite quickly. They don't have to go for a mortgage, blah blah blah. So I was like, I was fixated on bungalow flips as a strategy. So I was viewing loads of bungalows. Anyway, I met an auctioneer, like person that shows you around like auction properties, and they were not just like a normal key person who lets you in. They were also kind of very hot on everything that was happening in the market. They knew a load of people. And I was like, oh, we've got this HMO project. And he was like, oh, I know someone who does HMOs. She's got like 20 HMOs in the area that we were investing in. And I was like, oh, great, great. She's selling off any parts of her portfolio. And he was like, yeah, yeah, she is. And I was like, great, give her my number. And then end up buying three off her in like straight after, like purchase one, buy, renovate it, refinance. But so three off her in the space of like 2 years. So just talking to people has had crazy like domino effects to me. I still get emails from that same retiring landlord when she's like, hey, I'm selling another part of my portfolio off. Do you want it? And I'm like, it's just great that that direct link is coming straight to me now, because obviously, you know, all the hours you spend scrolling on websites sometimes. No shade to Lendlord, I love Lendlord, but sometimes you also need like those direct links with human beings.
And when did you decide to start like a social media presence, like in order like to get perhaps, I believe, more opportunities? And perhaps you can tell what was the strategy behind building your channel and start sharing your knowledge and experience with others.
Yeah, so you know what? I absolutely hated, I still don't really like the social media property space. I find it very, very cringe. I hate all of the kind of like get rich quick, buy a property for £1. Like, I just think property is like getting wealthy really, really slowly. And I just wanted to create something that was like more real, sharing the ups and the downs of being in this what do you call it, profession. Um, and I just wanted to share stuff from our own experience and never sort of say like I'm a guru or I know loads, because there are so many people out there who know way more than me and my husband. But just if we can just share every little bit that we're doing, you know, there's always going to be someone who's just starting out that can learn from us, and then I can learn from people that are like 5, 10 years ahead of me. So yeah, in terms of like the strategies that we've shared on our channel, lots of HMO stuff. We started to do a bit more social housing, and we've shared social housing, some small commercial things, like we converted a 10-bed care home into a large HMO. So we're just sharing every part of the journey, and the purpose of it was to just be real.
Yeah, I think this is a good strategy when you actually share authentic stuff, things that you actually do, and let other people learn from your experience. I think it's a great strategy.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, yeah. So now let's before we jump into the analysis, because we spoke about sourcing on Lendlord, you have some of this ability if you want to source online and perhaps get some opportunities based on your search criteria, you can do it. So Lendlord is separated into three main sections: the invest, manage, and finance. We will focus on the invest in this webinar because we will analyze deals together. But for the landlords in this audience, you have the managed side. That this is a great place. We switch to a different account. This is a great place to manage your existing portfolio, to manage the tasks, key events. You will get notifications when you need to renew your EICR, gas safety certificate, mortgage product, and everything. Documents on Lendlord, it's part of the premium plan, which you can get with 50% off during this webinar time. You can manage all the documents for each property and for each company. If you manage properties under companies or ownerships, you can track your mileage and trips, that business trips that you do to your properties that you can claim. You can manage your, I'm running, but we have all this information, contact on YouTube, and you can also share, you can also schedule a call with us and contact us in this chat box. So the managed side, we will not cover this in this webinar. Just briefly, you can also track your rent collection. You can invite your tenants to their own dashboard and receive maintenance reports. And you can also manage your transactions and profit and loss, expenses breakdown, and generate P&L reports and more. So this is basically the managed side of the platform. And the finance, you can find options for mortgage, remortgage, buy-to-let products, or you can obtain indicative terms for bridging finance online from your Lendlord account. So we spoke about property sourcing. So here you can find on-market listings. You can see properties being uploaded by estate agents every day. We actually increased the size of properties. We used to have around 50, 60K. We have now around 200K. And it's going basically to cover whole market. On property list, we do have the almost all of market, but you need to select a category before you find properties. A subsegment of this tab is the repossessed properties. So if you want to find properties under repossession, you just need to type the address and the radius from this address, and then click search. Let's select a different one. And then you will get the properties and a link to the website that they are being listed. It can be Rightmove, Zoopla on the market to get more information. In on-market properties, you can also filter by price decrease. For instance, you want to see properties that get price decreased in the last 7 days. And on the premium plan, you can get more information. This is an account with the premium plan. And if you want to apply the 50% off, I will just remind you, go to the settings, click upgrade, add coupon, Leah webinar, click apply, and you can get it for 50% off during this webinar time for the first year. So hurry up and do it. It's very valuable. Then last thing about sourcing is the sourcing alerts. So here you can define, this is part of the premium plan as well. If you want to get notifications on properties that you added to your watch list. So any property you see here in one of the tabs of the sourcing, you can click on this icon and this will be added to your watch list. And then on the sourcing alerts, you can define if you want to get alerts on price increase, price decrease. If you have properties that are from an auction house, you can get a reminder before the auction date. And you can also get alerts when the platform gets new properties that match your criteria. What is your criteria? You can click on add criteria, then you need to type in an address and a radius from this address, and then a price range. You can select the property types that you are interested in, and also a range of bedrooms. So it's also something that you can enter, and then every time the platform will get a new property matches to your criteria, you will receive an email. You will also receive a notification on the alerts bar, and if you use our mobile app, to your mobile app. So this is also part of the premium plan, which you can get with 50% off. Sorry, perhaps you can put the links on the chat again. And okay, now Leah, let's speak about deal analysis. So after you find the property, and if you use Lendlord, we do our own analysis based on some defaults on any property, but let's do it from scratch. You can go to the invest part of the platform, click deal analyzer.
And I absolutely love this deal analyzer feature. I just think it's so simple, straightforward. I love that you can just click on whether it's a buy-to-let strategy, flip, or BRRR. This feature's honestly a game changer for me for using Lendlord. So thanks for putting this on the platform.
Thanks, Leah. And I think we actually changed a bit the deal analyzer. So now in the background, we take some assumptions that we allow the user to change afterwards, but it's quicker to get results. So, for instance, on buy to let strategy, you just need to type in an address and then the purchase price. If you want to see what should be a purchase price in this area, you can click on the get estimation. The
Okay.
platform will get the internal area automatically for you. And then based on some parameters, you can get estimation about the property value for this property type, construction date, number of bedrooms, the size, finish quality, and how many outdoor spaces you have and off-street parking spaces. Um, it takes a few seconds.
Yeah. No, I
Uh,
love that. I love that you can just click, if it's like a terrace house, a flat, like it's so good. Just so good.
yeah, so you can change, you can re-estimate, and then basically you get valuable information. You can also get it for the rental um, income or rental values in this area based on the parameters of this property. And you can use those values when you analyze, or you can use your own values. Let's say that you already have like a property that you looked, you viewed, and you have some information about this property. So you can also take it from there. I think my connection is not so great. So let's I will put just for this example. So yeah, perhaps you want to do like some kind of like an example with random numbers just to understand the metrics,
Um,
or you want to use something that
just having a look at that. Birmingham's not my area, but it's not that far. I suspect like a two-bed in Birmingham maybe would be, or I don't want to get this so wrong, but maybe 1,200? Not sure actually for a
uh,
two-bed in Birmingham. I
actually
could be slightly loose.
I ran the estimation before it and it showed up like as 240. I don't know.
Oh, okay. Oh, sorry. I have no idea what the expected rent would be for a two-bed in Birmingham. I was thinking like over a grand, but
No, the 240 is for the value.
oh,
And
okay.
yeah, it
Yeah,
looks
Birmingham's actually quite expensive now. Oh, estimated rent 1,100, not bad. Yeah, not bad.
all right. Yeah.
Okay.
And now if you want now, let's see what is basically will be the yield, the return, and etc. So the last question, if I use going to use a buy-to-let mortgage or a cash purchase.
Yeah, usually always buy with a mortgage. We haven't done any cash purchases.
Yeah. So proceed, and then immediately we receive a Google map with the property, some
Mm.
information that we fetch on this property, the EPC level on the premium plan, which you can get with 50% off during this webinar time. You can get a link to the government website to see the EPC, and also if you need upgrades, there are suggestions in terms of costs, etc. Very, very valuable link.
Yeah.
Um,
There's a lot of people as well will always ask me, what's the best way to like add value? And I always think that straight away to look at the EPC rating of a property and then look at all of the suggested ways of raising the EPC. Because when you raise the EPC, you're obviously adding value. So this is just such a great little like click that is a click away. You don't have to find the postcode, go to the government website, find the house. It's just so good.
yeah, it's available here, one
Yeah.
click. And we also provide some information about the postcode, but you have the postcode information tab that you can get more information about the postcode. But as you can see, I just input the two data items, the purchase price and the rental income. And then the platform generated those metrics. Like we generate short-term metrics and long-term metrics. And for the short term, you can see how much cash investment. In the info, you will see that I need a deposit for my mortgage, stamp duty, and closing costs. I can always go to the summary tab, and then here I can click on the pencil and then edit the information that the platform assumes. So if the stamp duty actually, I think, is different, I can change it here. The closing costs, perhaps I can add a breakdown. So or perhaps I'm going to pay only 1,200 to my solicitors, but perhaps I need also to add 1,200 the agent fee and some buffer. So I can always change it from the edit, either from the edit button,
Yeah.
or I can just go to the summary and change um, the values from here.
Yeah.
And then let's go back to the results. So
Yeah,
you,
and I
yeah,
also like that you can I love that you can use the property purchase price slider. So like if you did
yes,
negotiate this deal below market value, I like that that's a real time change of like you can see the ROI increasing. Obviously, I know it's currently not a great ROI there, but obviously, I like that can do that without going back to the beginning.
yes, you can use those sliders just to optimize the price. By the way, we are going working on a feature that you will set your expectations. Let's say that I want to see at least 5% return on capital deployed, and net cash flow of X and cash investment of a range. So then you will get a score on each deal if it meets your strategy and expectations for a return. Um, yeah, so you have these sliders. You can also play with the mortgage. So if you're going to put more cash, or usually the maximum that you will get usually will be 75% mortgage. Then the long-term metrics are also something that you need to take a look. How much base, Leah, you invest on? Like, I want, because you said that you see it as like building with slowly, or something that is basically building.
Yeah,
So,
I
so
think
when you look at the, yeah, with the long term, what you're looking for?
okay, so for like total transparency, the properties that we bought at the very beginning, we were buying them for the cash flow strategy. So the goal was to replace my husband's income so he could leave his job. So like at the beginning, we were not going, okay, this house is going to be worth this much more money in this much time. It was like buying a sort of cheaper area, get really quite push the cash flow, like push the rents through the HMO strategy quite high. And then later on, start looking at different deals that would have more of a capital appreciation to them. So this is where we're looking at houses that are going to be increasing likely, like the equity in 10 years here, as you can see. Not not crazy. Oh, yeah, equity in 10 years, sorry, not like the actual price of the house. Equity is good. So I think that like this is definitely something to look at, but I wouldn't panic so much at the beginning if the property you're buying is not in an area of like crazy high capital growth, because usually it's more expensive to get into those deals.
Yep.
Which is just a side note because I know that at the beginning everyone wants to buy something that is both high in cash flow and going to be like a really amazing capital appreciation in many years to come. Sometimes you've got to like focus on different strategies for different times in your property life life cycle, I feel.
Yeah. And by the way, we do use like the postcode information to edit the default scenario. So we take,
Aviram,
yeah,
um, we have some questions, so when you can, 5 minute
yeah,
question.
yeah, I saw. We will answer the questions in the question and answers session. Just for that, so basically on the default scenario, we take, as you can see, 4.8% property value appreciation. You
Mm-hmm.
can change this for this specifically.
Yeah.
You can also manage the best case and worst case from your settings page. I'll show it after that. But basically, when we say 4.8, let's dig into the postcode information tab. The postcode information tab, which on the premium plan is unlimited, so hurry up to get your 50% off using the coupon code. So the postcode information tab will provide you with some information about the area. So you can see how many properties on sale right now, the monthly turnover, average yield, average 5-year growth, and then you can see the breakdown. So if I want to see the capital growth in the last 5 years, actually this is quite good postcode because I see many with negative growth in the last 2 years, but it really depends. But then this can help you predict what will be your property appreciation, let's say in the next 5 years. Then you can see stats about the rental income, breakdown by property type. You can see the property asking prices in this area right now and comparables. Leah, how much you invest like in like looking at comparables? Is it important for you to see? similar properties?
Yeah, the comparables are so important for me in the research, whether it's at the beginning, looking for like for like comparable houses, whether even now when I'm looking at properties sort of like on the same streets where I own houses on that street, I'm thinking like, oh, I bought the worst house on this street like a couple of, well, say 2021 for like £110,000. And now the worst house on that street is like £165,000 with no work done to it. So the comparables, I'm all over that all the time. I love sold data. I can really nerd out on all of that.
Yeah. Anyway, we can show also like the Google map, because I also like to get into in the Google map to take a look on the street to see,
Yeah.
similar properties in the area, etc.
Yeah.
Then here you can see some statistics about crime and the average council tax as well, and some demographic metrics. So you can see schools in this area, the election distribution, commute methods, and the population, the age distribution in this
Yeah.
area. So how important basically is the postcode in the area?
I think, all of this stuff here, like the postcode data, when it comes to like crime, schools, I think it's very easy to make these things like to make you quite scared of a deal. And actually, sometimes they'll have the opposite effect. So I think the best thing to look at is like the top line question is there demand to live in this area? If I put this house on the market tomorrow, would I find a tenant the next day? And the kind of like the rule of all of it is like, I'm not buying anything unless there's demand. Buy
Yeah.
for demand, like rule number one. So that's kind of where I try to remind myself of.
Yeah, I totally agree. In buy to let, this is critical. And I would also, when you analyze the deal, I would take it on the long-term scenarios. So if you edit the default scenario, you can see that we also put the occupancy rate. So we assume 95%, but just for the example, 92% means that 1 month every year the property will be vacant, no tenants. So you need to do your research. You can use the postcode information page, speaks with agents, and understand like what would be the potential occupancy rate over the years. And then the best case scenario, the worst case scenario, you can define different scenarios just to see what, like in a great market, what will happen to your return, and on what in a worst scenario, what will happen to your returns, like the IRR, the equity in 10 years, etc. And you can also edit it. When you edit, by the way, scenario and a specific deal, it will be saved on this deal. If you want to edit the default scenarios in the system, go to the settings page, to the customization tab. And here, this is something new. It's a new feature. And here you can define your own assumptions, basically for occupancy rate on the default scenario, occupancy rate on the best case, occupancy rate on the worst case. Also, what would be the annual appreciation, and annual inflation, and rental appreciation. And this basically will affect your long-term metrics, but you can override on each deal. So you can edit it on the settings page, and then this will be the defaults, but then you can override it on each deal. So this is the way that to analyze scenarios for the future. And yeah, perhaps before we go to the questions and answers, I want to speak about flip buy to sell strategy, and perhaps a few words about BRR. What do you think about those strategies? And also, you had experience with flip projects, like just like when you flip is basically when you buy, do some refurbishment, and then you sell.
Yeah, so thus far in our portfolio, everything we've bought we've held. On my YouTube channel, I have documented some other people's projects, so that includes flip projects. So obviously happy to speak on flipping as a strategy, but everything we've bought we have kept. So just for like full transparency.
Yeah. And BRR, so basically this, I think one of your first, So BRR is basically when you purchase the property, then you do some refurbishment, you improve the value of the property, and then you refinance at a higher value, and you can get some cash back, basically.
Yeah,
Perhaps
so
you
this
can
has
put
been
some
our
numbers.
like
Yeah.
yeah, that's been our like entire strategy so far, the BRRR, and that is what has allowed us to recycle money into the future deals and sort of scale.
Yes. So perhaps you can just like do a quick example. So if you purchase, let's say with 100K,
Yep.
you're going to do refurbishment of 10K,
Yep.
10% of the value. Then this is interesting to do from you. Like basically on refurbishment projects, if it's a flip or BR, you will need to use bridging finance or cash purchase, because if the property is not habitable, it's not ready for a tenant, it will be hard to get a buy to let mortgage at this stage. What would you use, like bridging or cash?
We use bridging finance for all of ours. Obviously, like you say, if the property's not habitable, you can't buy it on like a buy-to-let mortgage. And also, if you're going to be doing like an extensive HMO refurb where you are changing like the internal structure, you're knocking down walls and making new walls, adding ensuite, you have to do that on a bridge. You can't or cash. So yeah, we did the first one actually in cash because we couldn't get lending. We were first time buyers, first time landlords, first time everything. So yeah, we just raised the money to do it. But from then on, I've used bridging for everything.
By the way, we will support on our bridging if you want to see options for bridging finance. We will support first-time buyers as well, first-time landlords. So feel free to apply if you need bridging finance. But yeah, bridging is a great tool, but you need to be very careful with bridging because you will see that it's more expensive. There are like there are fees like a mortgage, but also the interest rate will be much higher. So it's a really short term, and you need to take it into account when you calculate the potential profit. And also you need to be very planned. We spoke about property manager, project manager. You need to be very planned in terms of your timing and costs, and like so you can exit the bridging loan on time.
Yeah. 100.
You will see it now on the metrics basically, and then let's say that we'll use bridging finance. Then you need to decide what would be the after refurb property value. If you
I
use
think
the,
with
yeah,
yeah,
go
I
ahead,
think
Leah. Mhm.
I think with only a 10K refurb, like it'd be hard to push this value much higher than say
It's an
150,
example, I can put 20.
150. Yeah, we put 20. Maybe you could push the value to like 160, 170.
Let's do
But
150 just for like to
yeah,
have a good example here. Yeah, let's say.
with
Uh,
the bridging, if anyone has got more questions on bridging, obviously the Lendlord feature is really good and they can talk to you on there. I've also done a couple of videos which I think are like quite helpful. I share like real time all the stats from our own bridging deals, and I share the full transparency on the numbers, so you guys can just type in property couple bridging and you can watch those in your own time.
yeah, the one recently, no, like it was a great video. So
Yeah, not so long ago, yeah, and it's done quite well. So I'm guessing people are interested in bridging.
yeah. So perhaps we can also put the links again. And now the after refurb, the GDV basically, sorry, the after refurb expected rent. So
Expected rent, Northampton.
yeah, we can put just like for the example, I don't know, also 1200, let's say.
Yeah, I think it depends. Like HMOs do quite well in Northampton, like, obviously for quite a bit more than that. But
That's a
yeah,
40. And of course, you can use the get estimations once you have like, the air, like which area you're going to invest. And on the get, if you want to see the difference between purchase price and after refurb property value, on the get estimation, you can change, let's say that you extended the area or the number of bedrooms, you can change this parameter or just the interior finish quality from average to a very high. So you can use these like do two estimations to see what will be the values, and then it will give you some more indication about what you should put on the purchase price and the after refurb property value. And then the refinancing usually will be for with a long-term mortgage. Then you click proceed to BRR. And then here you have more metrics because you have the refurb project metrics. So here, basically, if you just did the refurb, what would be the ROI for the refurb? What would be your initial cash investment? So you need to put deposit for the bridging, stamp duty, closing costs, and the refurb costs. You can always, from the summary, change the details. Yeah. So this is like we use some defaults. Then what would be your return on capital deployed after refurb projects, and the property appreciation because we increased it from 100 to 170, and the bridging loan costs. And you can see that this is 12 months project, but let's say that you were able to do the refurb in 9 months, you will see that your ROI is increasing and bridging costs is going down. So basically, this is basically the game between the time and the loan cost usually, no? I think because there are not such many like a lot of costs associated with the refurb project. If you don't, it's just the refurb costs and the bridging costs.
Yeah, for sure. It's so important to factor in the cost of the bridging. So that's why I like that this calculator does that, because every month that you use up of the bridging, you are spending more money, and often the bridging company will take all of the interest up front. So they'll deduct it, all of it, and then you get reimbursed what you didn't use of the, say it's 12 months, you only use 9 months of it, you get sent the last like installment back to you when you come off the bridge and go to a long-term buy-to-let mortgage.
Yeah, we have like a minimum 3 months. So you don't need to pay interest. Like if you repay the loan early, don't need to pay interest like for the entire period. So basically, yeah. Then you have the let period, short-term metrics. So after you refinanced at a higher value, I think, Lias, this is one of the main important metrics, the money left in the deal.
Yeah, I love it.
So what happened here? Okay, so we invested 49K, but we were able to increase the value to 170 and get a mortgage of 127. The mortgage of 127 paid back the bridging loan, paid back the bridging loan costs as well, and also bring us some capital raising. So the total cash we invested in this deal, eventually, we actually did
It's
like,
almost like a money in, money out deal, which is kind of rare these days, but they do exist. They are out there. They're just rare.
and of course, here you can also optimize. Let's say that I will improve it just to 160, okay? So we see that, yeah. So, and also I can play with the purchase price. So those sliders are available here. So you can optimize your deal based on that. And then you can see on the let period, what will be your net annual cash flow. So after you complete the refurb, you get the mortgage, you have a tenant. So it's the same like buy to let here. So you can also use assumptions for occupancy rate, for property appreciation, rental appreciation, inflation, and see also best case scenario, worst case scenario. So this is available on the BRR. So on BRR, and of course here you can also change the details on this from the summary, and you can get information about the postcode and more. So it's like a combination of flip and buy to let together, I would say BRR.
Yeah, great. Yeah, love it. Yeah.
And perhaps last thing before the question, we can go to the map. So I don't know which address I chose, but usually if you have a street, you will see, you know, you can see the streets, you can see the houses in the streets, you can see perhaps similar properties. I think it's also something that can bring some, you know, good information.
Yeah, it's really good. It's really good to look at, you know, what does the street look like? Is it near bus stops? Is it near transport links? Because people always want to live near
Yes,
things, transport, you know, if they don't have a car, they can get themselves somewhere. This is what renters are looking for. So yeah, I think that's really important.
exactly. Agree. Very important. All right. So let's go to, do we have, yeah, actually we ended the time, but do you have a few more minutes, Leah, to take some questions?
Yeah,
Yeah.
sure. I've got some time for
All right.
questions.
Thank you very much.
So
Okay.
where shall I just scroll to? So just there's quite a lot
Yeah.
here.
So perhaps, Sarel, if you can help us with the questions, if you are still here, and before you,
Yeah,
but
I
Sarel,
tried.
before, if you can put just the link for, sorry, interrupting you. Sarel, if you can put the links to the premium benefit, I will mention it again. because it's very valuable. Only 49.5 pounds for the entire first year and then 99 pounds for the second year. Go to your settings page or just to /premium, the link that Sarel will put on the chat. And then from this page, click on add coupon, enter the value Leah webinar, and click apply. And you will get the benefit, the discount, 50% off, only 49.5 pounds for the first year. This is open by the end of this webinar time, so hurry up to register. All right, yeah, let's start with questions, some questions, if you can select some, Sorry.
Okay, so first, all right. First question is, where does Lendlord get the estimation and rental analysis values? Which APIs we use?
So we do have, we have an integration with property data, and we have other sources that we have APIs with estate agents all around the UK, and we have some aggregated data. So basically, it's combination of those.
Another question from Louise. Hi, Leah. For your innovation projects, do you buy it with mortgage or bridging loan?
I buy with a bridge usually, and then I come out of the bridge, and I get onto a normal buy-to-let mortgage. I also saw another question about bridging, which said, what is the typical average length of the bridging loans that you take on your deals? I've only ever taken up to 12 months, but I'm almost certain you can go for longer.
Yeah, I think typically it will be 12 months. We recommend to go to 12 months. Don't take the risk for 6 or 9. Of course, it really depends on the net release, because shorter term, you can get more on day one, because lenders will look at 75% gross. So by the end of the term, the lender should be at exposure of 75% of the value on day one. So perhaps shorter term will give you more on day one, but it's more risky. So it's always better to take at least 12, and then, if you can go, exit early with no penalties. As I mentioned, we do only 3 months minimum. So just, repay the loan early, but at least you have this time. And we do have also 18 months loans that might be possible. And you can also get some extensions, but extensions also can be more expensive. So you need to take everything into account. Yeah.
Okay. How do you evaluate capital appreciation potential? That's another question.
So how do I value the capital appreciation potential? You can look at data like growth in the last however many years, and then you can predict based off that. Also, I'm pretty sure we saw that in the deal analyzer on Lendlord. So you can look at it there, but then you don't have to do your own digging for that.
This
There we
one?
go. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like predicted.
Yeah, on any postcode, I can see the history, and then
That's
and then based on that, you can predict what would be your future appreciation over the years. Yeah.
Having a look at more, I saw some really good ones. Sorry, one about like SIC codes. I think that was like my limited company. So what SIC code do you use for HMOs? So I think our accountant put on the owning, operating of own or leased rental estate is 68209 for us. And then you've also got the 68100 buying and selling of real estate. So obviously we've got an accountant set up all our companies and stuff and SPVs, but it's just those two really that you need. I'm not an accountant. This is not advice.
Yeah.
There was another one. On a buy-to-let mortgage, what renovations are you able to do before a tenant has to move in? And how long do you have to do the renovations before you must have a tenant in? I mean, that's a great question. I suspect you've so obviously once you got the mortgage, you start paying the mortgage. The quicker you get your renovations done, the quicker the tenant is paying your mortgage and not you. So I
Yeah,
guess as long as it takes, really. Do you have any more insight on that?
yeah, I think again, it's not an advice, and you can perhaps you can put our link tree. So if people wants to get some calls with a mortgage advisor or bridging advisor, but I'm just saying, like, I think that the lenders on buy to let, and you can see on the finance side which buy to let lenders we support, should be almost off market, and we also take into account their parameters and the stress test of properties and portfolios. But what is the stress test? Okay, because this is related to your question. Let's say in this example, if I will reduce the rental income to £200, okay, then I will run another search. You will see that there are less lenders available for me because I didn't pass the stress test. So lenders will want to see on a buy-to-let mortgage that the rental income will cover your mortgage payments at a higher rate. All right. So if there is a rate increase in the market, if you will be still, like, say, able to pay your mortgage. So because of that, buy-to-let mortgage, if you have renovation, it should be very limited because the lender will want to see a tenant that's coming in. Bridging is different, but bridging is more expensive. And the exit from bridging usually will be to buy to let mortgage/remortgage. So yeah, I hope this helps. But you can use Lendlord to understand also from the deal analyzer, like your finance options. On the deal analyzer, you have this finance this deal button on each deal. You can see indicative terms for bridging finance and for mortgages. Yeah, and finance is like here, I don't see, perhaps because of the rental income, but you should see the products for mortgages and indicative terms for bridging on each deal. Yeah. Do we have any more questions? Perhaps we'll go to the last one. Leah, what advice, if any, you can have on managing your cash flow during the refurbishment stage?
So I'm not sure if the person means managing the cash flow from your already exist. It depends on your situation. Like if you've already got cash flow coming in from your job or from other properties, obviously whilst you're in the refurbishment stage, there's going to be a lot of cash going out, paying
Yeah,
for
it's
parts of the work.
mainly expenses go out. It's less cash flow, like it's cash, it's only cash out almost like in the refurbishment, because there
Yeah,
is no income in the refurbishment in the beginning, like until you have a tenant inside or until you sell the property for profit.
yeah. You know what? It's not advice. It's just something that I've thought about. Like in the past, we've spent hundreds and hundreds of thousands on refurbs on our project over the years. This is what I wish I did. I wish I had got at the time like a business credit card and I had put as much of the refurb cost on a credit card and then I had accumulated like air miles or like points that have could have got me
Mm,
first class flights and things
yeah.
like that because the spend during the refurb is so high that I just regret doing it on like our normal business account. So if I could go back and do it all over again, I would do more research into like smart credit, to be one of those people that like hacks the point system. Like I would love to be that girl. Yeah,
Yeah.
so that's my advice on cash flow. Look for rewards.
By the way, Leah, we do have a works plan generator, schedule of works generator.
And that's cool. I haven't seen this
It's
one yet.
yeah, this is part of our premium plan.
Yeah.
Then you can add items and create a plan basically. And you can use our predefined items, but you can add any item that you want and put some descriptions, the costs, and also the timeline. And then basically it will create you a timeline project so you can see in the end what will be your total costs of the refurbishment and the start date of the entire project and the expected end date. Then you can generate it to a PDF or export to Excel and share with others. This is also part of our premium plan, and this is the time to remind you that you don't have a lot of time to upgrade, go to slash premium, click on add coupon here, enter Leah webinar, and click apply to get the premium plan with 50% off. Perhaps we can take two last questions, like one last question, because we don't have a lot of time.
Yes, there is.
All
It's
right.
a good
Pick,
one also for to summarize it.
all right, pick the best one, and then
Um,
if you still want to Leah, I don't know if there is a way to contact you. Perhaps you can share if and
Yeah, I would say probably just my website. I have like a form on my website, and then you can just click like who you are, if you're an investor, if you're just, looking for mentorship, if you're looking for some hand holding for your first property deals, you can just contact me on my website. And then either me or my husband or we'll get back to you. I'm trying to hire as an assistant at the moment to deal with admins. It's not much time. So someone will get back to you eventually.
all right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, it's great way to contact Julia. And also, if you want to contact our team, use this chat box. You can report bugs, make suggestions for new enhancements, and also ask for demos, etc. So yeah, what is the last question, Sorel?
all right, so there is a question I think that will summarize everything good here. Is there anything else, this is for Leah, of course, that you wish to know when you started that you could share? What mistakes should we be aware of? Just
Yeah.
one small thing.
One
Yeah.
small thing I think would be, so anytime you like hire anybody, anytime you say like I'm going to use this estate agent or I'm going to use this builder, I'm going to use this one, it's basically to manage, to keep on top of like managing your people yourself. So don't just expect them to be amazing at their job, because they probably won't be. So it's not saying like micromanage, just saying like pick really good people. And if they're not the right people for your business, get rid of them quickly and find better people. Because you're going to be spending, like 10 to 15% on perhaps management if you go down the HMO route. And these people are going to be taking like a big chunk of your cash flow and they need to be working for it. So they need to be on top of maintenance issues. You can't just like, one of the biggest things that we did is we just trusted people with everything. And then when we would go in and do inspections, unfortunately, like houses were not in a good way and the bathrooms, you know what I mean? It's just expensive maintenance because the people we put in place were not on top of their job. So just hire good people.
Yeah, I totally agree. Like great team, great people is a key. All right. So before we end up this webinar, just perhaps we'll keep the promotion live for a few more, perhaps for 1 more hour or so. Go to upgrade, click add coupon. This is for you. So thanks, just show where Leah webinar, click apply. Leah, thank you very much for joining, and thanks everyone. It was a real pleasure, very helpful, as always.
Oh, so good. Really look forward to these. So thanks so much for having me. And it was great to chat to everybody on here. So thanks for having me again.
Thank you very much, and thanks everyone. And we will share the recording as well, and reach out if you need anything. Thanks and good night.
Night, everyone. Bye.
Bye bye.